Now it's time to quilt area 2 of my Rulerwork Quilt-along, and the instructions say I need to start 3/4 of an inch up the side of my block. So how could I tell where's 3/4 of an inch here? Well, I can approximate it because I know that it's 1/4 of an inch from my needle to the edge of the foot, and then if the edge of my foot is 1/2 an inch up from that bottom corner, I'll be in just the right spot. You can measure this and mark it, but I usually would just eyeball 1/2 an inch. That's fine. So 1/2 an inch up from the bottom corner of my block to the edge of my foot will give me 3/4 of an inch to the needle. So I'm going to bring up my bobbin thread there. And remember, I want to do a few stitches very close together before I continue on my way. So, because that's going to lock the stitches. And then I bring up the ruler. I don't bring up the ruler while the presser foot is up because I could crash down my ruler. So now, I have actually put in 2 pieces of tape here. They are 2 inches apart. The space between them is 2 inches. So I can kind of use that as a 2-inch gauge when I'm quilting my bricks. So the instructions to say is to start with a small brick. So quilt about 3/4 of an inch across. And then you can quilt down to the base of your block and back up again. Now if you get rounded corners, maybe do an extra stitch in the corner just to compensate for that. Now, I'm quilting 3/4 of an inch up from the edge of my block. So that's 2 lines down in the ruler, a quarter, and then of course a quarter to the needle. And I know my bricks will be 2 inches wide because I put tape 2 inches wide right there. So I'm going to stitch from one brick to the beginning of the brick to the end of the brick. And then I'm going to stitch down to the base of my block and back up again. There we go. And now I'm going to put my ruler up again with that 2-inch mark that I marked with painter's tape. I love painter's tape. Okay. I have Westerly staple tape on the back of these rulers to make them less slippery, but the painter's tape is giving me kind of extra marks that I wouldn't have otherwise. So 2 inches across. And if it's a little off, it wouldn't really matter. I'm sure you'd never actually notice it. At least I wouldn't notice it. So, almost at the edge of my row. Very excited. Okay, so I'm going to stitch over to the edge of my row. And then I have to stitch up the side of my block to get to the next row. Now, I want to go 3/4 of an inch up. And ideally, if I can eyeball 1/2 an inch from the edge of the foot to the corner that I came from, then my needle will be 3/4 of an inch up. I think that's about 1 more stitch. I can check by moving my ruler, and if I can align my lines correctly, I'm the right distance up. So now the next set of bricks, I want to actually offset them. So I want to quilt to about the center of this brick, and then come down and back up again. So let's try that. So about the center of the brick. If you're a little off, it doesn't matter that much. Come down, back up again. Now I'm going to start to do my 2-inch mark. So from this piece of tape to that piece of tape. Stop and go down and back up. And you basically keep doing this back and forth until you finish the whole area of bricks.